Education, Monday, February 27th, 2023, to order. Could I get approval of tonight's agenda, please?
Approval to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'll ask everyone to stand.
Dispense with leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I trust you've had a chance to look over the consent agenda. At this time, could we get a motion for approval on tonight's consent agenda, please?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Judkins, second by Mr. Bennett. Any discussion on tonight's consent agenda? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. On to Student Advisory, now I'll turn that over to Dr. Swallows.
All right, we'll ask the members of the Student Advisory if you'll come up to the podium, please.
Hello, I am Lauren Sparkman. February was a wonderful month for Warren County High School athletics. The Warren County wrestling team saw 6 wrestlers advance from the region tournament to sectionals. They included Zarek Keel, who was the region champion, Seth Lindsay, Aiden Lindsay, PJ Truex, Xavier Simmons, and Junior Mares. All 6 wrestlers performed well at the sectional tournament. The following 3 advanced to the state tournament: Zarek Keel, Seth Lindsay, and Aiden Lindsay represented Warren County at the state wrestling championships this past weekend. For sophomore Zarek Keel, it was his second appearance at the state tournament and the first appearance for junior Seth Lindsay and freshman Aiden Lindsay. This was another impressive year for the Pioneer wrestlers, and they will look to keep the momentum rolling next season as all 6 sectional qualifiers will be returning. The Lady Pioneer basketball team has been extremely busy the last few weeks. The Lady Pioneers secured a share of the regular season district championship and lost a heartbreaker in the district tournament championships. However, the Lady Pioneers rebounded with a region tournament opening round win over Walker Valley High School this past Friday night. The Lady Pioneers will travel to Bradley Central High School tonight to take on the Lady Bears in the region semifinal game. The Pioneer basketball team experienced an extraordinary turnaround this year, ending their season as district champions for both the regular season and district tournament. Unfortunately, the Pioneers lost a double overtime thriller Saturday night in the opening round of the region tournament against Walker Valley High School. The Warren County Winter Guard is in the middle of their season. They recently competed in a WGI regional in Knoxville, Tennessee against teams from Tennessee, Kentucky, and the Carolinas, and placed first in prelims and finals, becoming the regional champions. This is the first WGI competition this team has been a part of in over 20 years, and they were proud to be a great representation of Warren County. Warren County High School Winter Guard will be attending a competition on March 4th at Summit High School, and their championships will be on April 1st. Warren County High School hosted the Area 9 Special Olympic Basketball Tournament in the gym on Thursday, February 24. This event was an amazing opportunity for all who participated. The amount of love, support, and inclusion expressed by the Warren County High School student body was overwhelming. Warren County High School's unified team qualified for regional and state tournaments to be held in March. Can't wait to see what Warren County will do in March.
Continuing with club news, this is the report from Ms. Cassani with the Black Student Union. The club secretary, Hannah Woodruff, would like to highlight the increased public awareness of the club's activities over this last September, this previous semester, and everything that's been going on throughout the club. They've partnered with the Trolley Stop out in Rock Island. They've raised over $400 for our Schools and Shoes Fund back during the Homecoming Carnival. They've collaborated with McMinnville's Young Men United and Black History Museum. These partnerships have given students of Warren County High School several opportunities through Young Men United service projects. They've hosted several guest speakers, including McMinnville public figures Mickey Gwynn and Wayne Wolford, connected with Warren County High School's Multicultural Club to host a Thanksgiving banquet, which was attended by the officers of Young Men United. They've given field trip opportunities to members at places like McMinnville's 3-Star Cinema, the Tennessee State University, and McMinnville's Black History Museum. They've used club funds to purchase Christmas gifts for McMinnville's kids of the community, and they've also used the club funds for the kids of the community. And they plan to continue work in our school and community throughout this semester. They have several speakers, films, and campaigns lined up for this month, February's Black History Month. And we hope to have a great semester, and thank you for taking the club into consideration.
To continue club news from Kevin Dunlap and Casey Owens from the Mock Trial Club, congratulations to the Warren County High School Mock Trial for their strong showing at regional competition in Williamson County this past Saturday. They competed against 12 teams at the Williamson County Judicial Center in Franklin, Tennessee. Warren County High School Mock Trial placed 5th out of the 12 competing teams. The team members were Nicole Monero, Amy Lee Jones, Caden Scott, Valerie Esparza, Victoria Buzzard, Nick Riley, Arabia Canacrie, Jose Hernandez, Rachel Monero, Emma Dillon, Kyle Smith, and Aiden Cook. The following schools competed against them in that event: Franklin High School, Brentwood High School, the Webb School, Columbia Academy, Ravenwood High School, and Asagados Classical High School. From Leah Simpson from the Multicultural Club went to the Tennessee History Museum and Farmers Market. The Multicultural Club will be hosting a delayed Valentine's Day dance. It was postponed due to weather on Friday, March 3rd, and a talent show on Saturday, March 4th, with the top 10 who will compete in front of the entire school during advisory on Thursday, March 9th.
From Ms. Danielle Smith with Warren County High School FFA. This past week, February 21st to the 24th, was National FFA Week, and the student body was encouraged to participate in dress-up days, which were as followed: Gone Hunting Day, Farmer in the Dell Day, FFA Day, and America Day. Students were also offered to pay on $1, and they would be allowed to wear a hat at the school today. Warren County High School FFA recently participated in the PLOW program, which is Passing Literacy Onward. The FFA members visited Hickory Creek and Morrison schools to read to students. These FFA members also held a children's book drive throughout the advisories at Warren County High School and raised well over 1,500 books for PLOW. In addition, the FFA officer team enjoyed a breakfast with the FFA state officers Thursday, February 23rd at TTU through their Goodwill Tour program. And there are some pictures from their PLOW reading at the other schools.
For school news, the Warren County High School wrestling team was honored Thursday afternoon with a Hall Parade pep rally. The parade included the Warren County High School cheerleaders, the Pioneerettes, and the Pioneer Pride marching band. The wrestling team was escorted through the halls of Warren County High School and into the gym, while the student body lined the halls to cheer them on as they left for competition in the afternoon. And we want to say congratulations to the 2023 senior superlatives, and those are listed in your monthly report.
Continuing school news, Warren County High School's administration's team provided staff members with a wonderful surprise this morning, dropping in out of the blue to say we appreciate you. This was a perfect way to start the week, and Warren County High School staff sends a big thank you to our excellent admin team. There's pictures there that show what they did. From Leah Simpson and Chelsea Gribble in the college office is finishing out FAFSA season with a bang. We hosted Tennessee Achieves at Warren County High School to complete college application blitz on February 9th. Pictures are on Warren County High School social media. Upcoming events include College/Career Fair, March 28th, Senior Awards Day, April 12th, Senior Breakfast, April 14th. From Connect Dixon, Warren County High School's select ensemble will be competing at Festival Disney. They're leaving March 7th. From Amy Sieber from the Art Department, Warren County High School's Art Department is hard at work painting murals at the library entrances as well as upstairs. There are plans underway for them to create additional works of art throughout the building, and there are pictures of what they've done.
I will be ending with a summary of the Student Advisory Principal meeting, which was held on Friday, February 24th. We met with Mr. Hobbs and discussed the new message boards that have been added around the building. If you take a walk around, we not only have the new murals, which are amazing, but we have message boards throughout the building that is where we want to put our posters and flyers instead of sticking them on the wall and peeling off the paint. And the committee further discussed campus and school beautification ideas that we had, like removing the old and outdated technology that's in every room in this high school, the big huge TVs and stuff like that, and the idea of adding barcode readers to make the inventory process more streamlined, because Mr. Hobbs told us about the surplus process. And we thought club participation in this process would be helpful, and we might get service hours for assisting in that process. An advisory class moving to 8th period was discussed among other schedule changes for next year that we had ideas about. And Mr. Hobbs said that he is trying in every way that he can to make our schedule better for the students. Student advisory members expressed the need for additional semester courses at Warren County High School and the benefits of adding these courses, like ACT prep courses. We think that having those as a schedule in our schedule would help us with our ACT scores, because a lot of us that had COVID in our past years, we didn't get any preparation for it, and I think that showed in our scores. But we think that would be really helpful. And Mr. Hobbs expressed his ideas on adding a second smaller cafeteria on location to shorten lunch period and alleviate the overcrowding issue in the cafeteria, because it is crazy in there. And in addition, Mr. Hobbs provided his vision for the removal of lockers in a couple locations around the school to maybe accommodate the clinic and create a CDC life skills lab, because the clinic, we think, is way too small. And cleanup ideas were discussed for the courtyard and garden area, which the bus riders exit. And the courtyard, it needs help bad. So we thought some of those beautifications might help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Questions for advisory?
Mr. Chairman, let me throw this question over to Dr. Swallows on item number 6. This has been an ongoing issue, the cafeteria, the overstuffed Warren County High School cafeteria. This idea of adding a second smaller cafeteria, here again, and you and I have had these discussions, the only problem we have is money. So if we had unlimited money, we could do some things, but is this a live stand-up walking possibility, or what do you think?
Well, I think we're going to have to make it a possibility. I just think we're to the point. Ultimately, they have 5 lunches already, which causes that lunch period to be longer than the other blocks, and that creates inequity of sorts through our class schedules. And so we're going to have to look at something. Mr. Hobbs and I have discussed the possibility of a second cafeteria. The only problem with that is then you're transporting food, and there's just lots of different issues with that. So I still have people call this the new high school. It is not the new high school anymore.
What, 25 years old?
And so ultimately we're to the point to where we're going to have to make some updates at this building. But just as you said, it's all about the money at this point.
Yeah. Let me mention that maybe on a happier note, the middle school 6th grade cohort hosted a visit last week, I think it was Thursday, by a couple of the personalities from News Channel 9 and Chattanooga WTVC. And one of those was Bill Race, their senior meteorologist. He has worked for News Channel 9 for 35 years. he is their community ambassador, and he does community events and school visits like this. I had occasion after that visit at the middle school cafeteria just to ask him, you visited schools all over your market area, which is southeast Tennessee, North Georgia, North Alabama, part of North Carolina. How would you rate Warren County Middle School? He said this was the best student group he's ever spoken to. So I don't know whether he's giving me permission to say that in public, but that's what he told me. It was the best group that he had spoken to. So compliments to the middle school pioneers and their teachers and staff, and of course the principals.
Thank you all. Thank you, students.
Thank you, Student Advisory. Okay, the next item is recognitions, and there's a reason that we're having this meeting at the auditorium of Warren County High School. We have a good problem. It's a good list of recognitions. So at this time, we're going to take time to do that, and I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Swallows.
Well, I'll echo what you said there, Mr. Caldwell. This is great. We don't normally have this type of attendance at board meetings, but
Never again.
that's right. But this is to celebrate our students and our teachers and our sponsors for a lot of their hard work, and so we're very fortunate to be able to have them today. And inevitably, when you're recognizing a group this large, we'll probably call a name wrong or something, and I will apologize up front if we do that. You can tell me, and I will try to fix it as we go along. But we have already mentioned a couple of the groups that we're recognizing already, this being one of them, our Special Olympics student recognitions. I'm going to ask Dr. Candace Wilmore if she'll come up to help us with that recognition.
So thank you for letting us be here to honor these special students. Warren County High School students attended the Special Olympics Winter Games in Gatlinburg in January. And I'm going to call out the following students who medaled in different areas of the Special Olympics. So if I call your name, if you'll come up to the stage. I know some of them can't be here today, so I'm not sure who's here and who's not. Wiley Madewell, he scored 4th place and a silver medal in alpine skiing. He went home early today, so. Dustin Walker. Here he comes. So Dustin got 2 gold medals in snowboarding. Michael Brock. Is Michael here? So Michael got a gold and a silver in snowboarding. Jackson Jones. Jackson Jones also got a gold and silver in alpine skiing. And Faith Coates. I don't see Faith. So Faith won a silver and bronze in ice skating. And I want to make special mention of their teachers that took them. Lori DeArmond, she was the ski coach, and Lori Whitman was the ice skating coach. So Dustin, thank you. Good job.
Thank you, Dr. Wilmore. All right, our next group that we're going to recognize, back a few months ago, we had several of our students that attended the Beta Convention, and let me just tell you, Warren County was extremely well represented throughout that convention. That's right. And so we ask that our school submit our winners for that. Some of them, I'm sure, are hopefully here. Some of them could not be here, but I'm going to go down through our school winners, and so I'll call their names, and if you'll come up and just join us on the side stage here, that would be great. This first group of winners is from Bobby Ray. First in on-site painting is Raylan Barks. Fifth place is hand-drawn anime, Jamarius Reedy. Third place in mixed media is Clara Martin. Second in musicology, Braylee Ball, Autumn Bell Johnson, Chloe Townsend, and Chloe White. Fourth in performing arts is Clara Martin. Third and premier performer, also Clara Martin, chosen to be one of 10 statewide in the portfolio. Spanish fourth grade, Fabian Martinez Medina. Club Trading Pen for third place, and then Bobby Ray also got the Convention Growth Award. So let's give these students from Bobby Ray a big round. You guys stay right there. We're going to get a picture, and then we'll go on to Eastside Elementary. Good job, guys. Thank you. All right, so I think I've learned from the first one. Let's hold our applause until we get to the end, and that way I can go a little bit faster, and then maybe we'll be out a little quicker. Eastside Elementary, the beta grades 4 through 5, color photography, second place, John Kelly Simmons, and John Kelly also got digital art, second place. Hand-drawn anime, second place was Stormy Cantrell. Language arts, fourth grade, fourth place, Ellie Dixon. Mixed media, first place, Allie Newby. Quilling, second place, Allie Newby. Sculpture, second place, Ellie Dixon. Spanish, fourth grade, fourth place, Nathan Rodriguez. Marketing and communications, second place, Ellie Dixon, Allie Newby, Shelby Hutchison, and Paisley Hiles. 2D art banner, fourth place, Shelby Hutchison and Ira Cotton. And Eastside also got the Club Growth Award for 2022. So let's give the Eastside Beta a big round of applause. These guys love having their picture made.
Almost as much as Tom.
Yeah. Oh, we got another one. There we go. All right, in Eastside's continued dominance, we're going to go to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade beta. Again, hold your applause until I get through this list. Fifth place apparel design, Alyssa Parsley, Alanta Fultz, Avery Bolding, Gracie Smith, and Sarah Kate Winfrey. Fifth place book battle team, Dean Cooper, Violet Harden, Sarah Kate Winfrey. Fifth place solo, duo, trio instrumentalist, Emery Reed was representing Irving College. Third place technology team, Natalie Heron and Lorelei Livesey. Third place black and white photography, Hadassah Bryan. First place pottery, Ella Dodson. First place sculpture, Avery Bolding. First place solo, duo, trio vocalist, and golden ticket recipient, Violet Harden. All right, Irving College Elementary, third in social studies is Gavin Parsley, and fifth in performing arts, we already mentioned, was Emery Reed. Second in sculpture, Elizabeth Johansson, and Irving College Beta Club also received the Growth Award. Oh, we got a principal running. That's never good. Yeah, it's okay. All right, from Morrison Elementary, we had one student that placed 4th in the elementary beta spelling bee and 4th in the 4th grade language arts academic tests, Charlotte Saldana. All right, at Warren County Middle School, we had 2 students place, one in 2nd in her on-site art drawing, Ella Curtis, and 5th with her quilling project, Caroline McGee. We will also place these pictures on our Facebook page. You can go get those as well if you didn't get up here to get a picture. All right, let's talk about Warren County High School. 61 beta members participated in the state competition, and their awards are lengthy, but I'm going to read them. So you don't get out of pictures yet, sorry. And so some of them are here, some of them are not, but we still want to invite them up on stage regardless. So first and foremost, the Warren County High School Beta Club won the Gold Key Award, so very proud of that. Also, Dakota Moore, 5th place in 9th grade language arts. Elise Bivens, 4th place in mixed media, and she also placed 3rd in pottery. Emma Coppinger was 1st place, state champion for on-site painting. Club Trading Pen, designed by the team led by Kerrigan Smith, was the 1st place. That was also the state champion. Our state champion musicology team, comprised of Hallie Drew Smith, Tristan Olson, Caden Hobbs, and Kyle Smith, placed 1st. More than 30 students worked hundreds of hours to design, construct, paint, and dress this year's living literature set, a scene from Tolkien's The Hobbit, bringing home the coveted 1st place state champion Living Literature Award. And finally, 17 betas teamed together to bring down the packed house with a reprise of Bikini Bottom Day from SpongeBob the Musical to receive one of the top state convention awards, 1st place state champion in large group talent. So obviously this group is extremely talented and we're very proud of them. Congratulations also to our Warren County High School. Oh, they can figure it out, surely, right?
They're smart kids. Yep. In that picture. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
He said 61. 61.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beta Club members are passing out something to the board members, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Some goodies. All right. We'll go for that.
So after that wraps up our beta convention winners, but we did have a student slip in here, so we're going to ask Dr. Wilmore to come back up and recognize one more of our students.
So I called her name earlier, but she got here a little late. This is Faith Coates, and she won the bronze and silver in ice skating.
All right, our next group we're going to recognize, we've already recognized some, did I leave somebody out? I sure did. Okay, let me check here. Who did it? Okay, come up here and tell us who won. How about that? I appreciate you fixing my error. Come up there to the microphone. Tell us. You're doing great. Perfect.
All right, so Hickory Creek Beta Club, we started the first club for Hickory Creek. We got the new club award. We took 24 students to convention. We have 62 in our club. We have Lorelei Riggs. She won second in anime? Third in anime drawing. And then Jordan, what did you win? Second? Third in painting. So they are going to nationals. So.
Awesome. Wait, hold on, girls. I told you inevitably we would do that. Anybody else with beta we did not get? Perfect. Good. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. Another state champion group. We have all dressed up in the back, our Pioneerettes. We'll ask them to come up for us. As they're making their way, let me read this about them. They attended the 2022 TSSAA State Cheer and Dance Championships on November the 5th on the campus of MTSU. The competition started in 1998, and it's grown quite a bit over the last 25 years. And the Pioneerettes are no stranger to success. They've been, and they were named the state champions in the medium varsity palm division in the 2022 championships. This is their first state title since winning back-to-back titles in 2011 and 2012. Their team also received third place in the large varsity game day division. And something we're all jealous of, they are leaving in a day or so to go to the NDA National Championships this week in Orlando, and they will compete in those same divisions. So members of the team include seniors Mackenzie Hillis and Allison Hudson, juniors Michaela Cagle, Brooklyn Cope, Jared Jones, Gracie Morton, Kiara Reynolds, Aniston Smith, and Bryn Woodley, sophomores Emma Cooper, Sarah Grissom, Dixie Hillis, Ashlyn Terry, Maddie Turner, and Maya Williams, freshmen Bowie Adams and Mackenzie McGee. They're coached by Penny Shockley and Sherry Burnett, and they're assisted by choreographer Jennifer Whitford and Catan Shockley. So let's hear a big round of applause for our state championship. All right, and one thing I know they do really well is get in picture order, so let's do that now. Hey, girls, we may just have to come out and do it right here.
Pretty impressive plaque they've got.
Yeah. They need some kneelers. They need some kneelers.
Yeah, some neat, yeah, they know how to do it. Right.
They got it before.
Yeah, they know how to do it. They just fall into that picture pose.
Ain't their first rodeo.
We would also like to invite you all to our national send-off tonight.
What time?
It's at 7 p.m. in the gym.
Thank you.
We'll be on the campus.
We might be done with this meeting by then. So. All right. Also want to recognize some of our Warren County High School wrestlers. This was talked about also in the student advisory report. But not only was our wrestling team, they were the 2023 district champions as a full team, but we had 3 wrestlers that qualified for the state tournament. You heard about those already. Zarek Keel, Seth Lindsay, and Aiden Lindsay were all represented Warren County well at the State Wrestling Championship just this past weekend. It was the second appearance for Mr. Keel and the first appearance for both Lindsays. A very impressive year for Pioneer wrestlers, and they are coming back next year, so we expect big things. We'll have them come up and congratulate them on their recognition and get a picture as well. Congratulations, gentlemen. We want to congratulate Coach Matt Turner and let him. You want to say anything?
I was just going to say, these guys right here. These obviously, Aiden's a freshman this year, so it was hard for him to be a team captain. But the other two boys are team captains. Aiden went 40-7 as a freshman, so that's nearly 50 matches. That's a lot of wrestling. Seth, his older brother, a junior, went 47-8. Zarek Keel went 44-6. And this is his second time qualifying, and these guys led the team to a district championship. We've been district runner-up for, it seems like 6 years, and we finally got over the hump. And, and the great thing about this young squad is there's no seniors on this team, so I'm expecting great things from them. And, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time for Warren County Wrestling. Thank you, guys.
Coach, yes. Coach, get in the picture there.
It's a lot of red.
All right. Okay, we also want to recognize another special group of Warren County High School students. This is a group that, as they round out their high school careers, and some that are closer than others, are individuals that have scored 30 plus on the ACT. Obviously, 36 is the perfect score. So this puts them in a very, very elite category, and we wanted to recognize them tonight. Camden Ware, Brent Moore, James Gooch, Mitchell Caton, and we're also fortunate to be able to recognize our salutatorians and valedictorian that were just released, who are also members of this club. Lauren Mansfield and Victoria Davis are salutatorians, and Duncan Clever is our valedictorian. So if those students are here, we'd love for you to come up. So we're also going to recognize tonight the certified, the classified employee of the month, and I think we have some folks from Dibble who are here to come up and make that presentation, so come on up.
This is Miss Erica Johnson, Miss Erica as we call her. At Dibble, all of our assistants are above average, but Erica deserves a little appreciation this month. She volunteered this year to take on more responsibilities to help make things a little easier since we lost a couple of aides. I won't say who took them away. Anyway, so she now does 7th and 8th grade, and also 5th and 6th grade. She does countless things. I couldn't stand here and tell you how many things she does for our 8th graders just to make their last year special. She helps the parents and the teachers go above and beyond to make their year special. She's the go-to person when the copier tears up. When she's absent, our car rider pickup just does not go well at all. So to say she's super Erica would be not too far off, and we love Miss Erica. And here's your
I will echo Ms. Kirby's thoughts on Erica. I've known Erica, well, we've known each other all of our lives, and she does go above and beyond to make things a lot easier on her teachers at Dibble. So congratulations to Erica Johnson. On to facilities and resources, Dr. Swallows.
All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Lennon Vassell from the city of McMinnville. He's going to come up and talk to you a little bit about some projects that we're working on together. And so I'm going to ask him to come up to the podium. Can't believe everybody's leaving.
Our crowd is moving.
All right. Can y'all hear me all right? Wonderful. My name's Lyndon Vassell. I'm the stormwater manager for the city of McMinnville. Really excited to be here today to discuss with you all some of the things that we have planned at a couple of schools that you guys got going on. I bet you're wondering, what does stormwater have to do with Warren County schools? Well, lots of things, actually. So we have the middle school, and we've got Bobby Ray as two of our places that we plan to do some projects at. You'll know at the middle school, behind it, we have some very large sinkholes, 3 or 4 of them to be exact, where lots of water travel to. And there's a practice field down there too that gets backed up and it floods quite regularly. We also have a conveyance behind the baseball field that leads to these sinkholes and karst formations, and it is in bad disrepair as well. At Bobby Ray, we have a tile at the entrance, which a tile is just a fancy way of saying a pipe underneath the drive to go into where parents pick up their kids. It is in major disrepair, and if we were to fix it, that driveway would likely be down for an extended period of time. And then we have a park that we would like to institute out behind Bobby Ray in this giant empty field that retains water a lot, and got a feeling it's been a nuisance for some time out there. So why are these places? Well, at the middle school, it's an incredibly large watershed. Lots of water travels to that area. To give you an idea, West Elementary, water that falls at West Elementary ends up behind the middle school. We're talking hundreds upon hundreds of acres that drain water back there. We also have problems upstream. So where these sinkholes aren't functioning properly, water gets backed up all the way to the point where North Chancery sees flooding and water issues. And we believe that by fixing these sinkholes, and one step in the grand scheme of things, will help alleviate a lot of that problem and all that water we see on North Chancery Street. Bobby Ray Elementary, out behind there, we see a lot of localized flooding, due in part to the soil composition and ecosystem that lives out behind the football field, and due in part to, we have a sinkhole out there that doesn't function properly as well. So we see the houses out there get flooded, we see water damage, and we see these people really struggling. And if they build anything, it's on major stilts to try to get it out of the water. Like I said before, there is a thriving ecosystem behind Bobby Ray Elementary School. We see crawfish, we see frogs, we see lots of insects. There's a lot of stuff going on out there. and we want to bring it back to where we would like to see it. So unfortunately, these pictures got tilted when it got transferred over, but the one on the left is the sinkhole out behind the baseball fields, and the one on the right is the stream that leads to it. It has a lot of what's called privet, which is an invasive species of plant with a shallow root system. So if you were to go out there behind the baseball field right now today and look at it, you'll see these weak plants just topped over dead all over the place, and that's the privet. And we want to get rid of that. We want to get rid of that, all of that, and plant new plants that love water, deep root system, and they're going to be great for that area. And they'll be aesthetically pleasing as well. So to give you an idea, we have button bush, an indigo bush, and an elderberry bush. All these bushes would be a great addition to that stream out there. It would help with the water, and it would look very pleasing when you have baseball time rolls around and these plants are blooming. So we would like to put these out there and get rid of whatever the privet is that's out there. We don't care what plants. We even let y'all choose which plants. You want a combination of all three? You want one over the other? It doesn't matter. We would just like to plant those to help out for that area. We'd also like to possibly make this a learning opportunity for some of the kids here that might be in FFA or be ag or be into horticulture or even environmental science, because this really goes into all of those territories. So we see this as an opportunity for the kids in the area to learn as well. Next, we have the Bobby Ray project. You'll see on the left is the tile that's in bad shape. You see the concrete tile and a giant crack and opening where the water flows. That water does not even go into that pipe. It goes underneath it. What happens when it goes underneath it is beyond me. It could be causing a larger problem that we don't know about, and we won't know about until we get in there and look at it and camera it. Of course, this type of project wouldn't happen until school's out, because obviously it's going to take some time to get in there and look at it all and help with the water situation coming off of Bobby Ray. On the right-hand side, we have the wetland park, and I can actually get a bigger picture of it. So you'll see that is the outline of the lot behind the football field right now. On the right-hand side is Calvin Street. On the left-hand side is the football field. So initially, you would have a parking lot in that square to the right. There's a boardwalk that walks up, and it would go to every little vegetation spot. Now, this is not just a place to mitigate stormwater, but it's also a place for kids to learn. Why are these plants important? What are they doing out here? What kind of insects are they attracting? Are they pollinators? Are they here to produce berries for birds? It's creating a whole food web, a whole ecosystem out there. And it's a place for kids to learn, and it's a place for people in the community to come and learn as well. But at the same time, we're retaining water, we're mitigating stormwater damage that's happening on that area. So it serves multiple purposes as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say about a lot of these projects. And I would like to open up for any kind of questions or comments or even concerns.
Where's the funding coming from?
We are.
The city of McMinnville?
Yep. No money would come from the school board or school systems whatsoever. Everything is city funded and or donated.
All city taxpayer money?
Not all of it. We have some donations from local nurseries where they want to donate a lot of their plants to come help these people out here. So it's not all that. We do have a considerable amount of donations as well.
As far as cleaning out these sinkholes, what's the game plan on those?
Clean up the sinkholes, it is a typical rehab. We dig them out, we clean them out with the dirt. We get down to the throat of the sinkhole, down to where the limestone's at. Then we fill it up with about 4 to 6 inch shock rock into those sinkholes, with geotextiles, of course. And then we put over a layer of smaller rock on the top. This gets the water able to come in there and funnel through a lot easier than what it does currently. Currently, the soil out there on top of the sinkholes doesn't have good percolation into this area. So we clean those out, and we should have better percolation with the water through the sinkholes.
You have to have federal and state permits for that?
We do not have to have TDEC permits for a sinkhole rehabilitation. If we were doing construction or some kind of nature like that, then absolutely we would have to go through the proper channels, possibly get an injection well permit to do something like that. But since it's just a general rehab of it, and we have plans from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. We can go in there and do it without those types of permits.
Let me ask you this. I think if Mr. Judkins, your question was who pays, is that right? I wasn't exactly sure I heard that. So this would be a City of McMinnville project?
Yes, sir.
Both of these. Mr. Chairman, this is certainly not a new issue. This has been around for decades. Not new at all, but this is the first time, I've got to say, that I've heard a science-based engineering discussion of this problem. And I'll go on record as complimenting the City of McMinnville for being proactive and for bringing a fact-based analysis to this situation. We've talked about it for decades, and this is as close as we've ever come to really getting a solution. So I guess my question is now, when do we start?
Well, I can say engineering design of the park, we actually partnered with UT to get the engineering done. So we had engineering students come in from Knoxville, and they did their own analysis of everything, come up with the calculations. Of course, they're not PEs or professional engineers. We'd have to get those reviewed and signed off on.
Well, they're supervised, though.
Yes, sir. But they came in there and did a lot of the preliminary work and the preliminary design. We want to retain and keep their integrity, but we just wanted to, check the boxes off, get a PE to look at it, and make sure everything is kosher before we would even consider that. And of course, we wouldn't do anything without the school board and everyone being okay with it as well. But yes.
That idea of having an outdoor learning laboratory at Bobby Ray Elementary, that idea has been around for a while. I think Dr. Swallows, your predecessor, was working on that kind of plan. I don't know whatever happened to it, but it sounded like a marvelous idea to have that outdoor learning opportunity for the students. And I certainly hope that this becomes a reality in this total scheme.
Absolutely. And to talk more about that, we actually worked with the gentleman that first started and brought this project up with Dr. Swallows' predecessor. He's actually a mentor on this project and has helped us start to create an advisory committee of anything that would be needed in terms of state permits, donations from local nurseries, things like that. Because our ultimate goal is to make this a community-funded, community-led type of thing, especially with the plants. We live in the nursery capital. We want locally sourced things. We want the community in on this.
I think it's very impressive that the city of McMinnville was taking this on, because for years, as we know, that the water behind the football field at the high school, even we've had the football field to have sinkholes in it and had to be filled up there at Nunley Stadium, as well as we used to refer to it as the swampland down there by Bobby Ray, which was the old junior high school. If y'all can, that would be a tremendous project, a tremendous asset for those two schools if it can be done.
Absolutely. And, we really hope to start the ball moving on this, especially the stuff out by the middle school, really get the ball moving, really get that going, because we feel like if we do it right and we get everything done for the sinkholes behind the middle school, that practice field can get dried out and could possibly be reused again for some kind of sports activities or anything that you want to do out there as well.
Do we need to do some exploration, some core drilling in that area at the middle school?
We've cleaned one out so far. We just have to fill it up with rock, but there's 2 to 3 more that need more work to be done to really make that area more functional. But yes.
Well, as you know, that is a karst region, big time.
Yeah, it's
big time.
It's not great.
This wetland park, does this allow for seating for outdoor classroom?
It should. There should be benches located throughout the boardwalk and walkway. In fact, we expect Bobby Ray Elementary to have their own personal entrance to where that the public can't enter. So if you had students from Bobby Ray that came down, they could come in and go as they please. We've also been discussing a community garden located in the top left-hand corner of this property. The city of McMinnville is working on doing a community garden program with donated materials. Once again, we have the railroad companies donating railroad ties to do raised beds.
But maintained by the city.
Correct.
Okay.
Maintained by the city. And talking with the principal at Bobby Ray, by the time a lot of these plants grow and have fruits, it's particularly in the fall. It's when they're learning about life cycle of the plant. So it's also another learning opportunity for the kids out there as well.
I was just curious about the liability issue. I was asking our on-board attorney here.
There is a state law about open spaces that allows us to not have liability. We already have a policy that we use for that is based on state law for our open areas around the tracks, the walking trails we have on several of the campuses. So we would get immunity under that law.
Any other questions for Mr. Purcell? We do not need necessarily a vote. I just felt like that it would be important that you all hear this. They are offering to do this, and I just can't say enough about appreciate their partnership with the City of McMinnville. Lyndon's done several things for the school system to help us in several ways, and we're just very thankful for that. And
One question. What would be the next step? What do we need to do to get this?
So the next step for me, personally, is to get the proper permits to do this, and then we should be okay to proceed once I get the proper permits.
I'm assuming like the tile part at Bobby Ray, that's something that needs to be done anyways. As soon as possible.
But that, once again, that's on us. That's in our right of way. That's our infrastructure. That should be something that we do ourselves.
I mean, you're welcome to vote on this. But ultimately, if you don't, with your blessing, we're just going to continue forwards, however you all want to handle that.
Well, you know, I feel, Mr. Chairman, that the city of McMinnville needs a little commendation on this, and maybe moral support for what it's worth from the school board. So I think if it's in order, Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt a resolution of support and endorsement for these water management and outdoor learning experiences proposed by the city of McMinnville.
Okay,
I'll second Mr. Zachman's.
we have a motion, we have a second. In discussion, I will offer, as a fruit tree grower, if we could ever be of assistance, we would love to
There
donate
you go.
some fruit trees.
You got a donor.
And small fruits. We do fruits and small
We're
fruits. and
talking
everything.
plums, maybe?
I'm sorry?
Plum trees?
Plums?
How many different varieties do you want?
He can take care of it.
I'll take plenty.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor of this adoption?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you
so
for your
much.
time.
Well, that is some good news.
Right there.
Yeah, that is awesome.
David, anything you want to add on facilities?
Finally got this up and moving.
I think we've updated, we're good. Let's move on.
Okay. Operations report. Back to you, Dr. Swallows.
All right. I appreciate the fact you heard this already in the student report, an update from the Black Student Union that's they've taken shape here at Warren County High School. They provided that last month, and as the board asked for an update from this group, and so we'd like to ask you all to come up and address the board on your activities and what's been going on with the Black Student Union.
Mr. Chairman, while the students are making their way up to the stage, I would like to mention that representatives from the Black Student Union have been at, I think, all of the weekly meetings of the Noon Rotary Club in February for our Black History Month celebration. And it was a great opportunity for the club to have that outreach and that interaction with the students. So I'd like to commend everybody who had a part in that, including Ms. Cassani. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us. So we're each going to answer a question, and I'm going to start with why and how was the BSU established? So my name is Catherine Cassani, and I'm the founder and sponsor of the Black Student Union. I'm also a graduate of Warren County High School, class of 2007. After spending 7 years abroad, with the last 3 being in Uganda, my family and I decided to move back to the U.S. so that I could finish my master's in education and in international relations. When an employment opportunity opened at Warren County High School, I jumped at the chance, and during my interview with Mr. Hobbs, I made the request that in the future I wanted to teach African American Studies here at the high school. This was a class that I had taught during my student teaching at Riverdale and was deeply moved by. After becoming a staff member, I found out that there was no longer a Black History Club and that it had evolved into the Multicultural Club, and where a majority of the students involved in that club were Hispanic. My concern for the advocacy and inclusion of African American students grew. As you see, when I was in Uganda, I met my husband, and I too have 2 beautifully mixed children of my own. I then approached Mr. Hobbs with another idea, a Black student union. He was very supportive, and so before Club Rush, I paid for a banner and convinced a few students to help me pass out flyers. I was very nervous about how it would be received, but I told myself that even if only 5 students sign up, that's still success. Today, I'm happy to say that we currently have 117 students who have signed up to be part of the union. I would also like to argue that we probably have the best lineup of student officers. Our president is Caden Rutledge. Our co-vice presidents are Chloe Rogers and Kyra Perkins. Our secretary is Hannah Woodruff. Our treasurer is Amy Castillo Cardenas, and our social media chair is Mo Cifuentes. I would also like to point out that I'm very lucky to have Frank Horton, who's here today. I think he went back there in the back. He is the school's beloved Culinary 1 teacher as a co-sponsor.
Okay, I'm Chloe Rogers. I'm the second vice president for the Black Student Union. I'm over the events and scheduling visits to colleges and all that good stuff. So I'm going to answer the question of how are we involved with the Warren County High School community and local community. As a club, we act as a representative for students of color, promote inclusivity and diversity through campus involvement, and create a safe space for open and meaningful discussions and collaboration on campus. We have students in our club that are white, Black, and Hispanic. We are accepting of anyone. We want our members to be involved, we want our members to run for leadership positions, and we really want to make sure our students are having the opportunities to visit college campuses, apply for scholarships, and have the tools to make good and educated decisions about their futures. After we established our leadership, we immediately reached out to Young Men United and the board of the Black History Museum. These 2 organizations have given us so much support and guidance and have included us in their Black History Month programs this month. We were also able to take 40 students to visit the Black History Museum at the beginning of this month. Both organizations are also offering scholarships through Warren County High School this year as well.
Hello, I'm Hannah Woodruff, and I'm the Secretary of the Black Student Union. And today I'm going to answer the question of what we have done so far, and I'm going to tell some about our activities. In the first semester, we hit the ground running, as Ms. Cassani said, and I'm proud to say that we have been an extremely active club. I would say one of Warren County's more active clubs. In first semester, we raised money for the Student Emergency Fund. We sponsored 2 children from the Kids of the Community for Christmas. And to add a little bit of fun to the mix, we went on a field trip to McMinnville's 3-Star Cinema to see the new Black Panther movie. This semester, and specifically this month alone, we have made banners in collaboration with our art club for Black History Month. We created halls of fame of famous African Americans who have contributed to American history. We have performed the morning announcements where we give a quote by an African American and give a small bio of an African American historical figure of the day. We have been invited to attend Noon Rotary and have got to see some amazing speakers over the past 3 weeks, including the president of TSU. We held our first annual Young Bucks versus Old Heads basketball game. And this past week, we hosted Mickey Gwynn, Helen Martin, Donald Crisp, and Vanessa Lang, and Jeff Martin, who spoke to students about when they and other African American students tried to start a Black student union at Warren County High School in 1975, but were unsuccessful because of administration. Mickey Gwynn has since written a book called The Revolutions of Michael Carson that is about this event, and we were able to secure 2 copies of the book for our own high school library. We also, this past Thursday, hosted the former TBI director, Mark Gwynn. All of these events have been open to the whole school, and I personally feel that our Black History Month program has been extremely successful, and we hope to continue with events to finish out our second semester. Thank you.
My name is Amy Castillo Cardenas. I am a junior here at the high school, and I am the treasurer for Black Student Union. I'm answering what are our future plans. Our goal for the future is to continue to grow the club and bring awareness to the importance of inclusion and diversity. We would like to start mentorship programs with adults from Young Men United and the Black History Museum. We would like to start reaching out to other regional high schools and encourage them to start their own Black student unions so that we could have other schools to do events with. We have expressed this interest to Tennessee Tech, and their Multicultural Center has been very receptive of this idea, and we are hoping to work with them on this. We will be touring Tech and their Multicultural Center in March. We have also been invited to tour Tennessee State University and Motlow, which is something we can maybe do before the end of the year. Thank you.
And sorry, one thing, African American Studies will be offered next year for the first time, and we're really excited about that as well, too.
Thank you all. Any questions from the board for that group? They're going to leave if you don't have any questions? All right. I just will say thank you so much. We are so glad to watch students take leadership, ownership, and really promote a positive culture in our school. We appreciate our adults leading that charge, and so job well done. Thank you all.
Thank you all. All right. Also on our agenda, you all have talked to me about having folks that are supervisors come and update about what they're doing in their areas. And so Dr. Wilmore has been up once already, but we're going to ask her to come back up and talk about what's going on in the special education department.
Thank you again for letting me be here. I'm going to just explain a little bit about our department and the makeup of it and who we serve. So we serve students with disabilities beginning on their 3rd birthday all the way through the year that they turn 22. Our focus is on FAPE. I know y'all hear that a lot, the free, appropriate public education. We know what free is. We know we are public education, but we really want to focus on the appropriate part. We want our kids to be in the least restrictive environment as much as possible. Our students are served through IEPs and 504s. So our students with disabilities that have IEPs, they've had a diagnosed disability, we've evaluated them, and they have a documented disability through an evaluation that's negatively affecting their progress, like they need more support than just the gen ed environment. And then our students with 504s, they just probably don't need as many services, but maybe they need accommodations in the classroom. They also have documented physical and mental impairments, and it might be limiting their involvement in some kind of class. So I ran our numbers today just to see how many students we're serving, because it changes every day. And as of today, we have 1,157 students with disabilities in our district. 906 of them have IEPs, and 251 of them have 504 plans. So each of our 12 schools have students that have IEPs and 504s, so we're well represented across the district. We have the greatest staff, I think, ever. We have 139 staff in special ed. 46 of them are certified teachers, special ed teachers. 63 of them are our paraprofessionals, and then 30 of them are other support staff, and I'm going to kind of tell you what they do. We serve our students in lots of different ways. We have 5 different preschool programs. So we have 2 preschool programs at Bobby Ray, 2 at West Elementary that start at age 3, and then we have an inclusion preschool at Hickory Creek. And we love that program. It has typical students and students with disabilities, so they can be together. We have lots of different comprehensive development classrooms, and those are for our students that have more significant needs. So we've really had more programs lately. So we have one at Bobby Ray, one at West, several at Hickory Creek, the middle school, the high school. And we also have, which has really grown lately, it's a post-secondary work-based learning program for our students with significant disabilities. And it's mainly taking them out, teaching them some job skills. And the teacher, I already mentioned her earlier, Lori Whitman. She's done an excellent job. We've had several students, I've told you before, that have gotten gainful employment just from being in that program, even through like our cafeteria here, our custodial staff, and they're actually independently making money and benefits. So we're so proud of them. We also have gifted teachers. We have special ed interventionists who specialize in reading and math for students. We have 5 school psychologists that do our evaluations for our students. They determine the eligibility with the team. We have 3 educational diagnosticians who help support those school psychologists, and they actually do lots of things for us. They help do extra testing and assessment. We have 5 speech and language pathologists who also test and evaluate for speech and language needs, and then they also give therapy for those students who qualify. We've been lucky. We have an occupational therapist who is full-time with us now. We've never had that except for the last couple of years. So she is with us, and she only works for us. It's not a contract. So she evaluates students that have occupational therapy needs. And we have a CODA, that's a certified occupational therapy assistant that helps her provide therapy. As you know, we have a great contract with McMinnville Physical Therapy where we provide physical therapy needs. A really thing that's been of interest lately, we need a lot of behavioral support, and we need more and more behavioral support. We do have a board-certified behavior analyst that is with us full-time and a licensed professional counselor. They also have a behavior assistant that helps write behavior plans for our students and develop functional behavior assessments for them. We, probably some of our most important people are those paraprofessionals that work with us. They support the teachers and the students. We couldn't do it without them. They do small group work with our students. They do a lot of one-on-one. They walk them to class and just do any support that they need. They're very helpful for us. Then I talked about 504s. We have 2 504 coordinators for the district that write those plans for our students. Some other supports we do, we have a birth to 4 screening 4 times a year. So meaning children who are born up until 4 years of age. They can come to us for a free screener. We look at a developmental screener. That's for typical students or if you suspect a disability, and that's free. We also help with pre-K and kindergarten screening. And we have a parent support group that meets once a month for any parent of any student with a disability just to come and talk with other parents with the same things. Some other things I wanted to note is we've been doing a lot of work with our climate and culture in our schools. I've talked to you about that before with our RTI2B programs where we help develop some behavior plans for students. And then as you know, we've worked a lot with capturing kids' hearts lately. So, anything else you would like to know? Questions?
Questions for Dr. Wilmore?
Yes.
Do you reach out to businesses or manufacturers in the community to see if they have work? Or have the businesses reach out to you all? Or how do we help our students to gain employment at some point?
So yes, I will say before COVID, we had a lot more access, I think, for other businesses. Now, Lori Whitman does a really good job of trying to reach out and go to different places. And those students go out during the day. We take them out. We have paraprofessionals that go with them, just so they're supervised. But yeah, we're always reaching out. So if you have a business that you know of that would like to help, we are having a meeting with the State Department in a couple of weeks that they can come in and help us set some other things up with other businesses just to give us some ideas.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a question. Excuse me. In Nashville lately, they have been talking about not taking the federal money. I know that your program is a lot, money is federal. Are you concerned about that they're not taking the federal money and trying to fund it from the state as itself?
Yes, I would be very concerned.
So let me add to that. The additional, or the proposal, and it's not in the form of legislation as of yet, I would echo what Mr. Bennett said, a little bit of a concern, but what we're hearing is that they would replace that funding through state funding. So we would not lose funding, and ultimately what they're saying is that we would potentially have less restrictions that would be federally mandated. However, we don't know what that looks like yet. So that's a very well-pointed question, and I don't know, you may be hearing some more about that in your groups or...
No, I just heard what you heard
Okay.
actually today. But I would be concerned, just a lot of the extra support that we have, it's nice to have those federal dollars.
I would be concerned if, I'm sure everybody else, other programs in the state is the same way, other school system. If you're losing the federal dollars, if it gets down the road and the state runs out of money, then where are we,
Exactly.
Could you get it back? That's the big question.
That's that was my concern too, Mr. Bennett. Right now, state legislative leaders can make the assertion that we can fund this. I have not seen the actual funding model for it. I haven't even seen a draft proposal. The problem is, even if they did have a proposal and then a plan, right now the state is in a very fortunate situation with revenues. That doesn't last forever. And my concern is what happens later on down the road after we have turned away from federal funding. Would we be able to support it over the long haul? And I think the other thing is that I believe this is sort of testing the water for some other actions to withdraw from federal funding, from federal support. This is sort of a weather vane, a political weather vane, to see how the public reacts to it. And I would, when I first heard about this, yes, I would agree with Dr. Wilmore. This is a matter of very serious concern.
Other questions for Dr. Wilmore related to our special ed department?
Well, I want to, it's kind of a praise and a question, I guess. First of all, we've talked before, and like I say, professionally and personally, I want to thank you and your staff for everything that y'all have done with the constant laws that are changing all the time, and try to stay up with that and the manner that y'all do it in. Like I say, I just want to compliment that. But I know you mentioned about behavioral. I know we have resources and capabilities of addressing that in the higher grades. Do you see us having to address that? I know there's a lot of concerns with that, and maybe Dr. Swallows might want to chime in on that there as well. I know
It's at the very beginning now. It used to be more high school, older students, but we have 3-year-olds coming that just have a lot of significant needs.
it used to be I as a board member was hearing a lot about salaries. That's still a concern to them, but they're reaching out to us about behavioral, in the classroom.
And you all are aware that we've been going around and having some employee meetings at all of our school buildings, and we've still got a few more to go, but that is one of the constant concerns. And so we've had a discussion, Dr. Wilmore and I, and several of our team members, about just we're in a unique place that we've never been in. We have some significant issues earlier than we've ever experienced them before, and so there's a lot of things being discussed about how we can help. We will, I believe, continue to see this for years to come, but if we don't intervene, then nobody will. And so we are going to work on doing that.
I will have to say, I have to thank Ms. Phillips. She's the legal person that really keeps us up to date on all our stuff. We daily come to each other and say, have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? So, thankful for that.
Together.
That's right.
Team effort.
Other questions?
Let me just say this, trying to keep things on a positive note. I had the experience a few weeks ago of walking out of a local restaurant, and it was raining. We were having pretty significant rain, and also going out was the mother of a special needs student, and she stopped me just to say, Mr. Zechman, I want to tell you how great your special ed department is. We were both getting kind of soaked in the rain, but she took the time to say how much she appreciated what Dr. Wilmore and her staff and the teachers are doing.
Well, thank you.
So I thought that was really heartfelt that she would pause during the rain to say that.
Well, thank you for
I want to
sharing
pass that along to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Wilmore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along in the operations report, the next item on the agenda is a discussion about employee health clinic. So I'm going to try to tell this story, I guess, as expediently as possible. We've talked about at the last meeting or actually for several meetings, that we were using some of our federal dollars that have come our direction to plan for what we were calling a COVID testing center, because we had received a grant that would allow us to fund some initiatives that we have through this grant. And so what we did was design a testing center that would be built on as an addition at the central office. So we've put that money aside, we've planned that, we budgeted for it, we've been through the process for probably a year now. That project went to bid, and unfortunately, when the bids were opened, that bid came back just right at $1 million more than what we had budgeted for. So at that time, we felt like that there was no option for us to continue in that route. Unfortunately, though, we were going to be sending back some federal dollars that we didn't necessarily want to send back, we want to take advantage of, but ultimately we just didn't feel like we had the local capacity to build that. So in the interim, during those discussions, you all are aware of the company 5 Points. It's actually been bought. It's called Gallagher 5 Points at this point. And we've had some discussions with them over the course of the last year about an on-site health clinic for our employees. And they've been also discussing this with the county. And so after all of this, and I promise I'll get to a point soon, we had some discussions, and so County Executive Bell and I had a conversation about this health clinic that would be available to all of our employees in the school system, and if the county wanted to come on board, it would also take care of their employees. So in theory, what this is an on-site health clinic that would serve our employees and their immediate families. This would be a free to the employee option. It would also be a free to the employee option for them to get certain prescriptions in this on-site health clinic. It would have 2 nurses, 1 nurse practitioner who would be under the supervision of a physician, and this would all take place through the 5 Points company, where we would contract with that company, 5 Points, to provide that personnel, and we would house those personnel in our facility somewhere to where our employees would have option for there to be a full-time staffed clinic. They could come, take part, make an appointment, and again, no cost to them, no insurance billing, and it would be quite the service, we think, for our employees. So 5 Points has talked to us about this a couple of times. Again, having this conversation with County Executive Bell, they are very interested in this. They are discussing some options they have with insurance. They are looking to provide this option for their employees, so it would be a co-effort if we were to go down this road. And so ultimately, once this became a discussion and we got our staff together and started trying to poke holes into this and say, what can we do? What should we do? Should we partner with 5 Points to do this? That became a part of the COVID testing center. Could we take that office space that was originally designed in the COVID testing center, convert that to actual clinic space, and then that would allow us to open up some more funding that would be available to potentially help us build that structure. So that's a long story to say. We are not anywhere close really to being able to sign a contract with My Benefits. That ultimately would be something you all would have to do as a board to give us the opportunity to do that. But let me start here and say, I really do feel like this would be a fantastic addition for our employees in a time to where healthcare costs are rising, insurance costs are rising. We have a number of classified staff that really can't afford to even take the insurance that we offer because of how expensive it is. They would be able to take advantage of this on-site health clinic by making an appointment. One of the things that you can talk about, there are other districts that are starting this. Lebanon Special City School District, Robertson County is also doing that. There are others. There's some other counties that are doing this same thing. But theoretically, if an employee gets sick, they can make an appointment. They can get in and out. The average wait time from what they're saying in these school systems is from beginning to end. There's no wait time. The whole process would take 30 minutes because what happens when you go to a doctor's office? You have to fill out tons of forms, insurance forms, all kinds of things, but there is no insurance. We're not billing insurance. They are filling out forms, and once they do that the first time, we can get them in, get them seen. We can even provide them with a prescription before they are able to leave. I say we, the staff. I would not be giving out any prescriptions. But this would be a great benefit for our employees. Now, there are some fixed costs with this to our school district, and I'll outline those for you. The annual fixed clinic costs, which they say is the 3-nurse model because of the number of employees we have, would be a $450,000 a year annual cost. We are ultimately paying for the employees and any of the costs that go with operating that system. Now, if we went in and partnered with the county, then the county theoretically would pay for their employees, and so that number would go down because the county would come in with us and pay their part. Roughly, they have 250 employees. That would probably pull that number down about 75,000, 80,000, somewhere around in there. So we would be looking at an estimated cost of $395,000 or $400,000 per year to be able to offer this to our employees. One of the other things that I think is important for you to understand or know is that we would be cutting down on time lost for employees having to go and be a part or reach out or make appointments and be at other places. Also, one of the things that I didn't even think about when we got into this, but this board has talked about the number of pre-employment things that we have with our employees, including a drug test. That drug test could be taken on site and would also be free of charge. And that would cut down on some of the employee pre-employment costs that we have as well. Drug and alcohol tests, flu shots, flu tests, COVID tests, and I guess that's ironic that we end up at that part because that's where we started talking about this with COVID. So why I bring this to you tonight is that I feel like you need as much information as you can have, but this has almost been a confluence of events that has brought us to this area tonight because we really need to make a decision on the building the extra space at the central office. I feel better about recommending to you that we do that simply because by adding this on-site health clinic, we are giving our employees a great service and we're adding the space to be able to do that. But we're also able to identify some costs in our ESSER 3 plan that we can move over so that we can have money in our GP, our general purpose fund, in order to have this construction completed. So I don't really know what I'm asking you to do other than give you some information and talk to me about some questions that you might have. This is a public forum. We want to be able to talk about that. I'm happy to answer some questions for you. I'm also happy to provide an opportunity where we bring 5 points to you and have them discuss this. The issue that we're running up against is that why I brought it to you tonight is because of the building structure. We budgeted for it this year. We have bids that have actually been sitting out there for a couple of weeks, and if we're going to do this, we need to go back to the low bidder and talk to them about what we might have to change. And so really, I feel like I need your blessing tonight to be able to have those conversations. If this is something you're interested in pursuing, it would be my recommendation that we do that, but I am bringing that conversation to you tonight for you to be able to ask some questions.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
First question is in reference to the building or in reference to the clinic. I know you said the county was going to put in a certain amount because they have a low number of employees to us. Will they be putting any money into the building?
We have not discussed that because they are early in their discussions about this as well. I believe that their plan would be in a couple years for that clinic to be housed at the new health department. But as you might have seen, that discussion at the county commission meeting last week was that they are potentially going to take that health department to the 3-star mall. And so ultimately that's in flux. So to answer your question, I don't know if they would put money toward that. Certainly a question I can ask.
Okay, question 2. I know you had a grant for this thing. I believe you said $1 million.
That's correct.
Okay. Then you said it's about $1 million over.
Yeah.
Do you have the other $1 million in the ESSER funds?
We do. We have identified $800,000 in computer costs that we are able to take into ESSER that is an allowable expense. We have a computer lease that we are getting out from under this year, and so that's where that money is coming from, which would free up almost $800,000 there. And then we're waiting on the Centertown project to come in, and we believe we will have money available in that line item to cover the remaining $200,000 there.
Because what I was mainly concerned with is if you had to, I'm not against the building, but if you had to take the money from the general purpose budget, that was my main concern.
Sure. Yeah. I agree with you on that. I don't think we do this if we're not able to identify the costs in ESSER, but we feel confident that we're able to do that at this point.
Dr. Swallows, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, Tanya, go ahead.
This is getting a little bit into the nitty-gritty of this clinic, but you mentioned it, and I think for employees watching, you mentioned that it's free to the employee.
That's correct.
Immediate family, would they be at a cash price? Would they be at an insurance billing situation? Either or?
Neither.
No? Okay, so immediate family is free of charge as well?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm sure that this is, you're probably getting a little ahead of it, but you think a 3-person staff could handle that with all the employees and with the county jumping on 2?
I think ultimately that's a great question. I think if you talk to the 5-point staff, they say because we are cutting down on so much of the overhead time with billing insurance or anything like that, and the fact that employees can make appointments online, it is also available to walk-in patients. But I would want to have the opportunity to talk to some of the school districts that have done it, but Robertson County is very impressed with it. They're very happy with it thus far.
What kind of timeline are we looking at?
Well, there is no hard timeline, but again, we're dealing with that bid that's out there and the fact that they quoted that price for the building on a certain time, and as building materials, if they're going up, they may be going down. So again, we need to be negotiating with that bidder probably pretty soon.
As far as the ESSER funds, is there a timeline on it as far as?
Yes, and so we would have to identify, which we've already done, cost in the general purpose budget that ESSER can take. And so that can be done, and then that would be able to allow, we would be able to put those funds toward this project that way.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Right now, I think.
Yeah.
You talk about the county coming in with us.
Mhm.
Okay, you're talking about maybe they're putting in $75,000.
That's right.
For example.
Yes.
Okay. If they continue, if they go ahead and they move to the mall with their health clinic, then is that $75,000 going to them, so we'd be responsible for it all?
So, again, that's a great question and a great thing that we would want to talk about. We could move that with them if we want to offer that to our employees, or we can take on that additional $75,000 cost and be able to do that in this space that we're talking about. So, again, that's why we're having a conversation about it. That is a distinct possibility if they want to do it that way. They may be happy coming to our building and may want to leave it there, but again, that's not a conversation I've had with them yet because they're not exactly sure what they're going to do.
Because I was thinking if they're going to come in with us, if they were coming in with us in that building, if we built it, then there are nurses that they already have at the health clinic. Would they be coming over with this clinic?
No, their health department nurse, this would just be simply space that they would have.
Okay.
Their staff would not be involved. These people, the two nurses and the nurse practitioner would be employees of 5 Points and how we contract with them. So it would not be their staff, it would just be space related.
Well, then, this, and I'll hush after this.
No,
I
it's
guess.
good. This is what it's for.
With everything that you've brought up here, I feel like as one board member, I don't know about everybody else feels this, maybe we need to call a workshop and sit down and talk about all this.
Okay.
And if we need to bring this group in and let them explain this a little bit further, and you investigate some other systems that's already doing this, you give us an update on that. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Do we need to make a motion to allow Dr. Swallows to go forward with this as far as research and all the different?
So there are just some different options. There's certainly what Mr. Bennett's talked about. You can make a motion to give me the authority to go ahead and continue with this process and then come back to you. We could potentially call a special call board meeting to accept this. I just felt like it's long, it's an issue to where there's a lot of things that are meeting, and I needed to bring it to you tonight to get your instruction or your direction on how to move forward. If you're not interested in doing this, then it's easy. We can let this go away and not pursue it any further. If you are interested in offering this for our employees, then I think we've got to take some steps over the course of the next couple of weeks. One, we've got to make a decision, you've got to make a decision about the space, and then two, to do an RFP, to sign contracts, to join in with this company to be able to offer this clinic. So it's a fairly complicated issue. I appreciate the questions, but we do need to move as quickly as we possibly can in order to take advantage of the money that we have.
I just think at this point in time where we're having conversations about how to retain teachers and employees, I mean, I think this benefit would just be something that would be something extra we could offer. Do we know, would it help any on the insurance that we're already paying? Would that offset any of that cost?
So, again, a great question. One that they could probably explain to you better, but let me give you a simplistic view of this. We have levels of insurance that we offer, that some have higher levels of service. And so a potential savings that our employees could see is that if they have this option to where they can get a free service, they might not have to take the higher end insurance. They might be able to take a lower insurance that might cover something different. So we do think that there's a potential savings that way. That would take a lot of study, and we've talked about that, a lot of study with that. I think, again, if we weren't talking about building space or adding space, I would say let's take some time and take a look at this. I just need your guidance in what we want to do to move forward. If we want to have a workshop, if we want to bring 5 Points in, I am happy to do that. But I just need your guidance.
Well, I'll make a motion that we let Dr. Swallows pursue this and get more information to the board, and we can decide something.
Would that motion include asking for an RFP from 5 Points?
Yes.
I would also ask that if you do this motion, you give me the authority to go and negotiate with the low bidder on the space to talk about changing that around to potentially fit this for health clinic. Are you okay with adding
I'll
that?
amend my second to incorporate that. But I do want to talk about that after we vote on that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second, correct. Any discussion?
I will just add, there's a potential that some additional of the parts of the county government might be interested that might help offset that cost. I would be careful there, because when we get more people in, that takes us from the 3-nurse model potentially up to the 4-nurse model, and that would be more expensive as well. But again, that if you're giving me the authority to be able to have these conversations, then I'm happy to do that and bring back to you a proposal.
I think we all agree this is more of a fact-finding thing right now.
Well, as Dr. Swallows explained, you're on a time crunch right here with this extra money and these bids that's out there. And, Mr. Zetman can probably explain this better than anyone, but being self-employed, sometimes you go with a higher deductible to get a cheaper premium.
Right.
Some of our staff can go with a higher deductible to get a lower premium because they're getting free service if they don't have any, current existing conditions or any other health problems going on. So I think this is a great opportunity if all this can come together, and like I say, to benefit our employees. But like I say, we don't want to be seen giving money back when it's already been given to us, considering the time constraint that we're in. Any others? Mr. Coe made the motion.
Yeah, the 3 parts. I'll help.
You're gonna help me.
I'll help.
Make a motion that Dr. Swallows has to pursue this adventure, I guess, a health clinic for our employees, and also to talk with any other RFP from the
With
5.
an RFP, yeah.
With the RFP from the 5 Points. Is that?
There was one.
Yeah,
It
we would
doesn't need
we
to
would
be-
pursue an RFP with a medical provider to do
Right.
this.
Yes.
Clear as mud, wasn't it?
Mr. Zickman
It'll be
seconded
an
the motion.
advertised RFP.
That's right.
Any other discussions?
I think, as far as helping the employees, that was a good question about the levels of insurance that he brought up. And, but I think, I know that some of our classified people, it's really tough on them insurance-wise. If we had a free clinic for them that we can use extra money to pay for it, then I think that's a good idea. But, I know that down the road, I'm sure that I really feel like the county's going to be out there in a 3-star mall with the health department. That's where it's going to wind up being, or they wouldn't be thinking about purchasing it anyway. And I don't think that we, as a board, for budget-wise, can plan on that money.
No, not at all. I agree. We just plan for the.
Why would they want to go ahead and commit to give us X number of dollars when they're thinking about purchasing that building anyway?
And again, that's a large price tag, but from what we see on the surface right now, we think it's probably something we certainly need to pursue for our employees. And that's, again, I appreciate the fact that you all are supporting this, and I will work diligently to get you information back so you can make an informed decision.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, this was the question. I want to go ahead and got that motion voted on and recorded, but if I understand, and Robin can help us with this, I was thinking that there is a provision in state procurement law to the effect, I think I have seen this back in the deep, dark past. If you advertise for bids on a construction project, and you do this, of course, in compliance with state purchasing law, and all the bids come in over the budget, Robin, is there not a provision that would allow us to negotiate
Yes.
directly with the contractor outside that bid framework?
Well, once we have the bids, yes,
That's
then
correct.
we can negotiate with them on
Okay.
that.
And that's where we are currently.
Okay.
But we've also been there currently for about a month.
And I think that the bid is only good for like
Yeah, but
30 or 60 days.
doesn't the law allow us to go to any licensed contractor that's bonded for that amount?
I'm not sure that is
think
the
Well,
law, but I could look into that.
I would
have
encourage you to
not,
look at that to see if we could go to some other contractor, kind of open up the universe of potential contractors, and authorize Dr. Swallows with whatever ceiling amount you want to put on the project to go ahead and negotiate.
I think
I believe we have to rebid it.
we would have to rebid, and we can rebid, but again, you're talking about the
Yeah,
timeline.
this is the problem.
We can negotiate with the lowest and best
Correct.
bid.
Okay,
And that's currently, in talking to Upland Design, that's currently what they have been talking to the low bidder about, and we are working with Upland Design to get an initial understanding of what might need to change. We can't change square footage because we know that's going to make the price go up, but can we change the design to house that clinic?
Okay. Are we still going to have the little classroom type auditorium?
Yes.
Okay.
I know we originally approved a $1.2 million for it. Okay, what was the tag above, what was the top cost?
The top cost or the low bid?
Well, what was the low bid, I guess?
The
what I'm
low,
trying to say.
the low bid came in at 2.3, I believe, just right under that.
So that's
So 1.1 million?
over.
Correct.
And you got 1.1 in ESSER money.
We believe that we have identified that, yes,
They're also trying to negotiate off that price.
that's correct. That, we have the opportunity to go back, but I can tell you right now, the $800,000 has already been identified, and as soon as we get those Centertown bids back, we believe that there will be additional money in that. But again, you're not giving me the authority to be able to say we're going to build this building yet. I want to be able to bring this back to you because that's your decision, not ours.
I'm just trying to clear it up in my mind.
Sure.
I'm sure everybody else is too.
I understand. And I'm sorry for bringing you something so confusing. And if I didn't have so many different plates in the air with this project, we would just say, wait till the end, but we're on a time crunch with that. And again, I want to ultimately our employees to know that we're trying to work to their benefit.
Right, but as one board member, I would invite a special called meeting if that's what it takes to get this moving within the time constraints we have.
Okay. You ready? Yes, sir. All right, I will move on to legislative update. I'm going to be really quick with this one. I just want to call to your attention that the General Assembly are having committee meetings quite frequently at this point. The Senate Education Committee is meeting this week on several hot-button issues. I just think I put this on the agenda because I felt like we've been going around all of Warren County to our elementary schools, particularly that have third grade students, talking about this Tennessee Literacy Success Act and trying to give our third grade students and their families information related to that. There is going to be a day, I believe very soon, where the General Assembly talks about some potential changes to that law. They had a joint hearing last week. I would encourage you to go online and watch that joint hearing. They had some representatives from Mississippi that also has this same law in place, and they asked several questions of them. Again, what I would say is that we're all for, and I've said this many, many times, it sounds like a broken record, we're all for the high expectations. We want our kids reading on grade level. Ultimately, we just have some concerns with how this bill is going to play out in the fact that students are going to be called or held accountable for their performance on one test in April, and that's going to cause them to have to do several things. So I would just ask that you be aware of what's going on. We try to send you as much information. TSBA has been very valuable in sending us information around that and what bills are coming. So please watch that and be aware of all that's going on with the legislature. Any questions on that one?
Next Tuesday, March the 7th is when they're having.
That's right.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah. I would also say, talk to your elected representatives. I'll move on to math textbook adoption. We are very fortunate to have had a very strong leadership. You have identified a committee for math textbook adoption, and Mr. Mansfield and Mr. Curtis and Dr. Crouch have done a great job of organizing that committee, and they are way ahead of the game, in my opinion. We have some districts that we know that are not here, but they have put this plan in place and a timeline in place in order for us to be able to approve a textbook, purchase textbooks, and then allow our teachers the opportunity to sit with them and plan well before August. And so I appreciate the leadership that we've had. They've provided a letter for you. This group has provided a letter for you in your packet. I'll just give you a Cliff's Notes version. There were 4 vendors. This committee sat and listened to presentations from all of those vendors, actually cut it down to just a few vendors, heard that. And so the K-8 committee finalists were Curriculum Associates, HMH, and the 9-12 committee finalists were McGraw-Hill and Savas. Each member submitted a vote and a rationale for their final recommendation. The K-8 recommendation was 17-6 in favor of Curriculum Associates, and the 9-12 vote was unanimous, 6-0 in favor of McGraw-Hill. And so what we are submitting to you tonight is a recommendation that you would approve the adoption of Curriculum Associates for K through 8 and McGraw-Hill for 9 through 12.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I want to make a motion that we accept the recommendation for Curriculum Associates to provide the textbooks for K-8 and McGraw-Hill in math for 9-12.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Mr. Zeckman, a second by Mr. Cope. Any discussion on this math curriculum adoption? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. And again, I want to echo or say again that I appreciate the work of our leadership team and those dedicated teachers. If you were able to sit in on those sessions, you would be very encouraged about how dedicated our staff is and our teachers are. They had some great comments and they really took it seriously, and I appreciate that. We had some help from NIET, Kim Herring, and she's been great for our staff over the last couple of years and their leadership. So thank you for adopting that. That brings us to talking about NIET and a strategic plan. I talked to the board in recent months. This school system adopted a strategic plan that ran through 2021, through 2022. We spoke last year about updating that strategic plan, and at that time, we said that the TISA funding model was coming into play, and I asked you to put off the update of that strategic plan until this year when we had an idea of what was going on with the TISA funding model. We are to that point, and I believe this board is interested in doing some work around strategic planning. We do a lot of work with NIET. NIET does a lot of strategic planning work in and of itself, and just so happens that their executive in residence happens to be a former employee of this district, Mr. Bobby Cox. He is doing this strategic planning work in a number of places, including Cumberland County, which is very close to us. And so what I reached out to him and asked him for a proposal to help us do this. I will tell you that the last time the district did this, it was very in-depth. You spent a number of days and weeks and months reaching out to the community. We think at this point it's efficient and more effective for us to update that existing document to fit the current needs of the district.
And so he has submitted a scope of work for the district. There is a fee that comes with that. It would be $3,000 a day. That would cover travel. That would cover any cost that NIET might incur. But his suggestion would be that we start with 10 days, but it could go faster than that. It could go longer than that. But this is, again, an organization that we worked really well with. Obviously, Mr. Cox knows this district, so I think it's a unique perspective for him to be able to come in and help us provide that. One of the things that the board said was potentially bringing somebody in from the outside. And while we're doing that with NIET, we're also getting a local flair with this as well. So there is a scope of work that was provided to you in your packet, and I'm submitting to you to that. I would tell you that that timeline would not happen immediately. We would potentially identify that money in this year's coming budget so that we can start that work in July and have a few months to get there and be able to roll that strategic plan out at the beginning of not next school year, but the next calendar year, so that we can be talking about 2024, 2025, beginning that strategic plan. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Mr. Chairman, I've looked at the NIET proposal for services and billing, and we've had, I think, uniformly good success with NIET and consulting and helping us move forward academically, especially in some challenged areas. So I'm going to move for acceptance of the proposal from NIET at the rate of $3,000 per day with an estimated 10 days of on-site and online coordination and consultation.
Okay, that is in the form of a motion. We have a motion from Mr. Zeckman. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Ms. Best. Any discussions on this NIET and strategic plan? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, now finally that wraps up my operations report.
All right. Good job there, Dr. Swallow. Curriculum and achievement, there is none. In other business, I know Dr. Swallows mentioned it in the weekly board update about changing the March meeting date from the Monday to Thursday. Do you have that actual calendar day on that?
The 30th? March 30th.
I had it in my other phone, but my other phone died, and I had to get a new one today, so I got to look at my calendar. That would be on Thursday, March the 30th. I've had a couple to reach out to me and said they would be fine with that. Is everybody okay with Thursday, March the 30th for the March meeting next month? And I think the reason being for that is you may have more updates concerning TISA. So if everybody's okay with that, that don't need to be formally concluded, does it?
I don't think so.
Do we need to?
I mean, you're welcome to, but I don't think it necessarily has to be.
Okay, if that's not a conflict with anyone's schedule, we'll just plan on changing that to March the 30th. I think you see some chocolates in front of you there. We want to thank Dibble staff on behalf of those. I think Ms. Gann brought those by. And congratulate Ms. Lauren for sitting through this with us. Like I said, the lucky person to call. Everybody else has deserted you right here. Your cohorts there. But
Mr. Chairman, also want to thank the high school culinary arts program. They've got some food that might be cold at this point, but they do have some food for you. And also want to remind you that the Pioneerettes did invite you to their send-off performance in the gym as well.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say that Dr. Swallows, I appreciate you going to the commission, bringing them up to date on what the governor's asking on the new salary schedule for teachers and stuff. I know this board has talked before about trying to increase our salary people as much as we possibly can, but I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Along those lines, I want to thank you and your staff for going around to all the schools. I know there was some good turnout, some good response, and there's some continued good response. And like I say, we don't know how this bill is going to come about or what's going to happen, but as a parent, from a parent's perspective here, I do think it's gotten a lot of people's attention. There's nothing wrong with more parental involvement in student education. So I appreciate y'all. On behalf of the board, we appreciate you and your team doing that, taking y'all's time out of this schedule to do that as well. Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion, Mr. Judkins, second, Mr. Cole. Any discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned. Thank you so much.